Hello and welcome to the show. I am grateful that you are here today listening, particularly if this is your first time tuning into one of the Divorced Advocate episodes. We've got a very poignant, I would say, topic today, which is how to quote unquote train your attorney. It's something that comes up oftentimes in our group meetings. A lot of the content you've heard me say comes up in our group meetings, and we had a terrific meeting, probably the best meeting. We had about 10 guys this morning and just had a lot of great shares with the guys and a lot of great support. And just a lot of great breakthroughs with some of the guys that are going through some challenging times. But one of the things that came up was how to change attorneys, how to guide our attorneys, et cetera, in staying true to what we want going through this divorce process and even post divorce. So, we're going to talk about how to train your attorney today. But before we start that, let me welcome, we've just got a ton of new guys, a lot of activity in the community. I want to welcome Alejandro, Edmund, Stuart, Chris, Justin, Austin, Brandon, Chad, John, Sean, Spencer, Shane, Brandon, and Jim. I think that's the most we've had in this period of time at once that have joined the community. So welcome to all of you gentlemen. I know some of you are on the call this morning. And if you're not part of the community, check it out at thedivorcedadvocate.com. There are all kinds of resources there, from the blog post to membership posts, or I'm sorry, membership membership podcasts, as well as other things that you can find. There's the app as well that's got over 50 different things that you can utilize to work on yourself throughout this process. So check out the divorcedadvocate.com, check out the membership site. There's free stuff, there's paid stuff, there's paid coaching, whatever you need at whatever level you're at, or whatever abilities you have to utilize those. So check it out at thedivorcedadvocates.com. Okay, so I don't have to tell you that divorce is one of life's most challenging experiences. And for us fathers, it comes with some unique obstacles. And one of the critical things is ensuring your attorney effectively advocates for your interest. And this requires clear communication, strategic planning, and a keen understanding of the complex issues at play. So what we're going to talk about is, like I said, how to quote unquote train your attorney to work diligently on your behalf as you navigate both the emotional and the legal intricacies of your divorce. And I do want to say, before getting into these, what we got, 10 different ways to do this, that it is incumbent upon you to be the one that is the coach, if you will, of this entire process, or the bus driver, or whatever analogy you want to use. But you're the one that's in charge of this, and you're the one that needs to take control of moving this in the direction that you need it to move for yourself and for your family, for your children in particular. So that requires you to not only take these 10 things that I'm going to talk about into your hands and implement them. And it also means that you need to get up to speed on the law. So all of the laws, the divorce laws that are specific to your individual area or state or county or whatever it might be, they are all listed online. So you can go and you can Google and you can find all the statutes around divorce. Even if you have an attorney, you need to be up to speed and understanding of what the law is, so that you can not understand what your attorney is saying, but you can also speak intelligently and ask intelligent questions and know what it is that you want within the context of the law. So I'm going to just start out with that. You need to make sure to know and understand the law. You're hiring the attorney to guide you through that process and know the intimate details of that, but you need to get yourself familiar with that. So make sure to do that even when you hire an attorney. Attorneys are the other thing I'll say is attorneys are trained to know the law and to traverse the process for you and with you. So that is what they're all about. They're not here to be your be your therapist, to help you with your mental emotional states, to not even really to whatever, to whatever extent you want to say this, but to strategize for you. It is incumbent for you to do that. And I will say there's some attorneys that are good at strategizing, but I will say strategizing takes a lot of mental effort and a lot of thought process, and taking into consideration a lot of moving parts. The attorneys don't necessarily have all of that information, and I can guarantee you that as good as any attorney is, they're not going home. They're not taking all this stuff home. They're not thinking outside of for the most part, the billable hours that they have on your case, in strategizing and trying to figure out better ways to do this. It's not a knock on the attorneys or any attorneys that are listening. It's just a function of how the process is set up, the legal system is set up, their billing and how they get paid is set up. So you need to know that. You need to understand that nobody knows and understands this whole this in a holistic way better than you do. It's also why I highly encourage getting a coach to help you through this, because a coach is going to help you think about what the attorney's wanting, but also help you talk with your financial representative or whoever's consulting you, maybe a real estate person or a therapist, or what's going on with the children and parenting and all of that, and help you through this process, because there are multiple different things. There are multiple variables and many moving parts that go through this. So on that note, number one is to make sure to clarify your objectives, and you need to define your goals clearly. Are you focused on securing fair parenting time, achieving equitable asset distribution, or addressing concerns about your ex-partner's mental health? It could be one of those. It could be all of those. Oftentimes it's all of those and more. I'm just giving some examples briefly. This is a whole very long, deep, intricate, detailed conversation to have. And individual coaching is something that I talk about probably on a regular basis, with how to communicate with the attorneys about what it is you want. It's actually the first step that we do, which is clarifying your vision and direction in the 5-step process that I take individual clients through. So you'll prioritize your objectives to provide your attorney with a clear roadmap, and using bullet points or a detailed list to outline what matters to you most can be helpful. So that could be parenting time, maximizing time with your children, which I think probably anybody that's listening here is definitely a priority. It could be asset distribution, ensuring a fair division of property and finances. It could be a bullet point of mental health considerations, addressing any mental health concerns that may affect parenting time. There could be a myriad of different things, but I would make sure just to get those down, get those listed, and then within each of those, write out specifically what it is that you want to see. And if you don't know yet what it is that you want to see, or what direction you want it to move, then get with somebody, whether that's a paid coach that's going to help you clarify that stuff, or figure out what it is. Talk to somebody that's gone through the process before as well, or get it down and then ask your attorney to help you to refine it. Now, that's going to be a more expensive way to do it than it would be to get a coach or somebody else, but you can do that as well. I think they will definitely appreciate that you're giving them some clear understanding and guidance of where you're coming from and what it is that you need in the direction you want things to go. Number two is document everything, particularly in high conflict divorces, but even not in high conflict divorces. Documentation is going to be your best ally, and provide your attorney with a thorough collection of all of the relevant documents that they need. It's a massive amount of time. I do understand that, but I can tell you that it is absolutely critical to do that, to make sure to document your communication logs, whether that's emails or text messages, or notes from conversations, or talking parents, or our family wizard, or any other communications that could be voice messages. Also financial records, bank statements, tax returns, asset lists, if you're not, if you have not been on top of those things, or you've not been paying the person that's paying the bills, or knowing what the bank's accounts, you need to get to figure that stuff out immediately, so that you have a good understanding of what's going on financially. Parenting documentation, also schedules, diaries of time spent with children, evidence of involvement in their activities. So make sure to organize these materials systematically, and the more comprehensive your documentation, the better your attorney can advocate on your behalf. And I would also say, in situations, and this happens unfortunately a lot of the time, that is high conflict, that make sure that you're recording conversations to protect yourself. Unfortunately, this now becomes especially, and we're going to talk in the next point about addressing alienation. When alienation starts to happen, then you and we, unfortunately, as dads in the family law court system, are presumed guilty until we prove our innocence, which is the opposite of what it's supposed to be, but it is just what it is. And so making sure to protect yourself, cover your ass, if you will, by recording things and making sure that you have good, solid documentation of what is transpiring is going to save your ass oftentimes. And I know that's a hard thing to think about. It's a hard thing to embrace the fact that the person that you loved, that you fell in love with, that you married, that you had children with, might be planning something that's not too great for your future and the future of your family and your time with your kiddos. But it does happen. Hopefully it doesn't in the majority of divorces that go down. Unfortunately, I know that I am in a little bit of a vacuum, where we do get a lot of guys that are experiencing some of these challenges and difficulties and high conflicts. So I'm hyper aware of that, but I also want to make sure that the dads that may not or may not think that they are, just need to be cognizant of paying attention to those things, documenting everything, and that might even include recording conversations and making sure to cover yourself in case something happens. And that's also, guys, that things might be going well, but there may come a point, and this happens all of the time, and I hear this at least weekly, if not daily, that there's a reality that sets in with your soon-to-be ex, that it's not the storybook of TV shows or movies that we see when you get divorced and Prince Charming comes, or you're living a high-flying post-divorce life with meeting the guy of your dreams after, and he's flying you from whatever on his private jet, or whatever other bullcrap is out there in Hollywood, or some of these movies. The reality is there's a no-win, and it's a difficult and challenging time to go from a household where everybody's together to two separate households and parenting by yourself. And so for us, and for most guys, I think that is pretty realistic, and we kind of get that. It's a simple math equation. But for many women, there is a harsh reality that sets in, and that sometimes sets in right in the middle of the divorce, when they figure out they're not going to have the exact lifestyle or the storybook post-divorce life that they had envisioned. So that's just another reason to make sure that you pay attention to and document everything. The third point would be to address alienation. And, this is where one parent undermines the child's relationship with the other parent. And this can be absolutely devastating. And if you don't get in front of it and you don't pay attention to it, or you just kind of say, hey, we had a couple of a guy on a call today that was, hey, I'm just gonna kind of just step back a little bit. And that is a huge, huge mistake, because if you're stepping back from alienation, it's not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse. So make sure to keep a journal of things. If you suspect alienation, record instances where your ex-partner's behavior may have influenced your child's perceptions negatively. That includes if you hear language coming from them that just is not age appropriate, or just would not come from them, or there's a significant change in how they're acting towards you, that you keep a journal of that, even recordings of that if you're able to record your conversations with them. Gathering evidence, save any messages or notes that show attempts to alienate, and involve professionals. And I say this tentatively because you suggest involving a child psychologist to evaluate the situation can work well. However, there are, and depending, and this was another point of conversation this morning, was depending on where you're at, depending even on just the judge, that the therapeutic situation where kids and their feelings are taken above anything else, which is, when I say anything else, is the importance of kids being with their fathers and their father's influence on the kids, is of more importance than that. So we get into some therapeutic situations. I've experienced it myself and others where this becomes, well, the kids don't want to spend time with them. Well, you know what? The fact of the matter is there is no better and no greater benefit to them in their lives than having a father involved with them and spending time with them. And so this whole bull crap about they don't want to, they're expressing their feelings, they're expressing that they don't want to. Well, hey, the fact of the matter is there's lots of stuff we don't want to do in life, but it is scientifically proven. All of the studies, everything out there shows that there is a benefit to spending time with your father. So just remember that when you start to get into this battle, if you do get into this battle, and I pray that you never do have to get into that battle, but do not let it slide. Pay attention to it. Keep the journal. Gather the evidence. If you have to, get a professional involved, but be very careful with what professionals you get, and then discuss these with your attorney to strategize the best approach, whether that's mediation, therapy, or legal action. Sometimes, unfortunately, and this happens oftentimes post-divorce, is you have to go back to court. It is a civil matter to force somebody to facilitate that parenting time with your children. If your ex is not dropping the kids off or not facilitating that process, then it's not a criminal matter. It's not for the police. While you can call the police, you can talk to them about that to see what they can do and what pressure they might be able to exert on making sure that happens. They're not going to get involved in the middle of it. It is a civil matter, and you're going to have to go back to court in order to get the other party to abide by what has been agreed to in court. So just pay attention to it is the big thing, and then take the direction that you feel you need to take with your attorney. Number 4 is negotiate parenting time effectively. When negotiating the parent time, focus on creating a plan that reflects your child's best interests while ensuring significant involvement in their lives. I emphasize that last part, ensuring significant involvement in their lives. Again, depending on where you're at in the country or the world, and depending upon the mentality of the particular judge or magistrate that you might have, that could vary. But the good news is that it's getting to be more common that it's a given that it's 50-50, which makes perfect sense to me, but that might not be the case where you're at. But just know that fighting for that is absolutely critical. And so propose a detailed plan. Present a well thought out parenting schedule, including holidays, vacations, and special occasions. And I say these other ones, including holidays, vacations, and special occasions, because you need to be very, very specific with how those work. And your attorney can help with some of those. But what I've found is attorneys have pretty much each one of them has a boilerplate agreement that they've utilized, and understand they are trying to find the most effective way to get through this process with the least amount of effort, so that they can get this done and help you through this process. So they've got a boilerplate agreement. Make sure that works for you, whether that's a 5-2-2-5 process, a 4-4-3-3 process, a week on, week off process, 2 weeks of vacation with the kids in the summer, however that might be. But go into specific detail. and stand up for specific details, or stand up for what you want in each of those specific details. That was another topic that we talked about this morning. Was you might feel like you're quibbling about things, but I can tell you that if you don't quibble now, that it becomes a problem, and the difficulties later, then it's even harder to get back into court to resolve things. And you got to get attorneys back involved. And if you got somebody that's just not going to cooperate, it's like negotiating with a terrorist. So make sure to pay attention to all of the details and dot every I and cross every T. Be flexible but firm. That goes to what I just said. Be willing to show compromise, but stand firm on the key points essential to maintaining a strong relationship with your children. You hear a theme that you need to be able to have that time with your kids so that you can have that relationship. And then last is naturally considering the children's needs. Tailor the schedule to accommodate the routines and activities, demonstrating your commitment to their well-being. And that's I put that in there, but I've never met a dad on any one of our calls or anybody in the community that is not considering that. If anything, I think that the dads that come to our community and are involved, that they go to the other end of the spectrum, which is kowtowing to accommodating needs and routines of the kiddos. And sometimes it's okay to say no to your ex or soon to be ex, and sometimes it's okay to say no to your kids and know that they're going to be okay and they're going to survive even if they get upset and they don't like it. But that's also a great lesson that we can learn that's not prevalent in our society these days, that sometimes the answer is no, and sometimes we don't like it, and sometimes it's difficult and painful and stressful, and we don't like it, but we deal with it. So enough on that point. Number 5, pursue equitable distribution of assets. Division can be contentious, but advocating for the fair split based on contributions and needs is really important. And I just want to say that you need to have a life post-divorce that allows you the ability to be comfortable. Now it's going to be different, right? But to be comfortable, to live somewhere that is comfortable, that accommodates the needs of your kids, to be able to provide for them, provide for yourself, to be able to take care of yourself as well as your kiddos, and also have a life after. So a lot of times I see guys, and we have guys that show up and they're just like I'm going to sacrifice and it's okay and whatnot. And there's some honor to that, but not to the extent that you're going to stress yourself out and not be able to be there in have quality interactions and quality parenting time with your kids because you're stressed about money or you have to work an extra job, et cetera, just to be able to afford to get through your divorce because you've given up too much around that. So make sure in doing this, you list all assets, including property, savings, investments, and personal belongings. And I'm just going to say straight up too, be honest with everything. Do not lie about anything. Do not hide assets. Do not start moving money around and doing crazy, stupid shit, because that's going to look really bad in the eye of the court. And it's not necessary. You need to be upfront and listing all of this. And if you don't know, start getting up to speed on what all of your assets are, where all the money is, who's on what bank accounts are where, what bills are getting paid, etc. Also, with your assets and debts, identify the shared liabilities like mortgages, loans, and credit card debt. And then evaluate your contributions. Document your contributions, both financial and non-financial. For example, like home maintenance, childcare, stuff like that. That you do and that you participate. That may be part of the upkeep or maintenance of the home that helps save you some money. So then you're able to work with your attorney to negotiate or litigate a fair distribution, considering both current needs and future financial security. I'll say that again. You got to have some future financial security. It's already going to be different. It's going to be a strain because it's a simple math equation. Going from one house to two houses means there's more bills, there's less money. So this is also one of those things where the harsh reality, if you've had somebody that has been a stay-at-home parent, and then they're going to have to go back to work, they're going to have to go back to work to maintain a semblance of the lifestyle that you had with one household. So that's sometimes where things go a little bit sideways with women as well, because they have a false sense that the lifestyle is going to stay all the same, without having to make any kinds of sacrifices, like going back to work and not having the kids as much as they had anticipated. So just be cognizant of that. Number 6, dealing with a high conflict ex partner or soon to be ex. This requires a measured approach. Number 1, absolutely stay calm and avoid reacting emotionally to any provocation. This is true very often in the beginning stages of divorce, when you've either proposed it or somebody has pulled the trigger and served somebody, and you're living in the same house. It becomes contentious, it becomes stressful, and so making sure to stay calm is absolutely critical. You don't want to make things more difficult for yourself. Use your legal challenges if your ex-partner is being difficult to communicate through your attorney to minimize direct conflict. If your soon-to-be ex is just somebody that's not wanting to communicate, or won't communicate with you, or won't listen, then maybe you do need to pay the attorney to communicate with their attorney. And sometimes this is the best tact to take, because they're used to the dynamic that you have been in within your marriage and in the relationship, and that may have been that you did not advocate for yourself, and that may be that you were codependent, and you didn't actually communicate effectively what it is that your wants were, and didn't set boundaries. And sometimes when you start to do that, then there's a reaction to that that's going to be pretty excessive, and so you might have to just do this through the attorney. And then again, document everything. Keep records of interactions that may illustrate unreasonable or aggressive behavior. This oftentimes, again, in the beginning of these, when there's just the beginning of service, or the beginning of the process, and going through the legal process, that this may come to fruition. It's also when the alienation may be starting as well. So it's really critical to pay attention in these early stages, and then discuss them. Discuss with your attorney ways and approaches that minimize conflict and focuses on resolution. One of those can be getting in place a temporary agreement for who's paying bills, what the parenting time looks like, who's living in the house, if you have a nesting agreement, if somebody's going to move out, all that stuff. The sooner you get that in place, the better. It's also going to help the kiddos to know that there is some sort of structure around that. As disconcerting and chaotic and difficult as this is for us as men, it is also disconcerting and chaotic and stressful for the kids as well. So the sooner that you put some sort of structure into place and start this process and help them along with it, the better it's going to be. And I see this mistake happen oftentimes, that guys don't do this, they don't take, and we're going to talk about being proactive here in one of the next steps, but they don't start taking the reins, if you will, like I said in the beginning, being the bus driver or the coach of this process soon enough, and then just let it flounder. And that's just not a positive for anybody. And I understand that it might be difficult for you. It might not have been something that you've been used to, and you may not have been the person that has been the one to lead. But now's the time that you need to do this for sure, in particular for your children. Number 7, addressing mental health issues. Unfortunately, this is very common. And if there are mental health issues affecting divorce proceedings or parenting dynamics, you need to, again, gather evidence, obtain medical records or expert opinions related to mental health concerns. do not be afraid to do this. You can always have this and then back away from it, but you need to get it documented and you need to get it on the record, particularly if something starts to go sideways during the proceedings or post divorce. You have this in place. This was a huge mistake that I made, and I see this with guys all the time, that you need to make sure to pursue this if you think that it's going to have an impact. Even if you might not think that it's going to have an impact, you need to make sure that you document this and gather all the evidence on this. And then that doesn't mean that you're weaponizing this, because you can propose solutions. Consider suggesting therapy, counseling, or evaluations as part of the proceedings. But you need to make sure to prioritize safety and stability and ensure that any agreements account for the mental health needs of both your ex-partner and your children. Do not ignore this. It is prevalent, and it will have a huge impact. And really, if you're going through this process and you have somebody that has some mental health issues, you don't want. A lot of mental health issues are generational, and it becomes something that, because of an experience in your youth or your early adult life, that an experience with your parents, that becomes then something that gets carried on into your life. So you don't want this to happen with your children. So do not ignore it if you suspect it, or if there is already something that is diagnosed. You need to make sure to pay attention and do something about it. And it's not bad mouthing your ex or soon to be ex. It's not stigmatizing them. It's just paying attention to something that can have a profound impact on your children's adult life and the future of their lives. We're here as fathers to make sure that we raise children that are going to be healthy and functioning in their adult lives. That is our main proposition here as fathers. So part of that is making sure that we pay attention, just like we'd be paying attention to anybody else that would be in their lives that might have some mental health issues. We want to be making sure that we are keeping them safe and stabilizing the situation. And then you can discuss this with your attorneys and help navigate these delicate issues. And you can do it sensitively and appropriately. That can happen. And then, you're setting your boundaries and you are controlling what you can. And then your ex or your soon to be ex can react in the way that they want to react. You're not going to be able to control that. So, but you are going to be able to pay attention to it and take action in the most appropriate manner. Number 8 is regular communication. Maintain open, regular communication with your attorney. Hopefully your attorney is going to be doing this with you. Not all are great at this. Schedule frequent updates and provide feedback on their approach. Ensure they understand your perspective and any changes in your circumstances or priorities. This also leads back to understanding the statutes. I would ask your attorney upfront, what is the process? I know that going into this, I had no idea, and you probably also don't have any idea because you've never been through this before, but ask them what the process is and what the timelines are around everything that's going to happen with this. A good attorney is going to help walk you through this and help you to understand this so that you have just a basic understanding of this, and then you can communicate. One of the things that I started to have my subsequent attorneys do is blind CC me or forward me on every single communication that they have with opposing counsel, or with my ex, or whomever they were advocating with on my behalf. And so this kept me into loop. This also helped me, now that I've gotten better at understanding how to work with my attorney, how to take charge of this process, and understand what language they're using, if I need to see a change in what that language looks like. It also helped me to see that one of my attorneys was palling around with my ex-wife's attorney at conferences, and they were little pals. And so that was not appropriate in my mind, and she was gone the next week. So again, this is, that's an extreme, right? But it will just help you to understand the process. It will help you to know what's going on. It will help you to then ask good questions, and just make informed decisions. So keep regular communication with your attorney. And if you haven't heard from them in a while, check in with them and find out. Number 9, be proactive, not reactive. I alluded to this before. It's absolutely incumbent upon you to develop a comprehensive strategy with your attorney early and in the process, and adjust as necessary. Proactivity reduces the likelihood of being blindsided by unexpected developments. Man, like, there's tons of stuff going on with this, guys. I recognize and understand that. We're not even talking about the mental, emotional parts of this, and the difficulties and the challenges and of that, and the loneliness, and the time, not having time with your kids like you used to, and the shame or guilt that might, like, all of the stuff that's going on. But do not bury your head. You need to be proactive with this and not reactive on this. And so all these things that I've suggested, you need to be taking to heart and doing. Again, getting a coach that will help you to stay on track with all of this stuff is highly recommended. Just like a coach for any sporting event that you might have, or perhaps a musical endeavor, or something that is more creative, that will help teach you the different steps to go through, and keep you on track with each of those different steps, whether that's artistry or sports or something else. Coaches help you to do that and have systematic processes that'll help you. A divorce coach is going to help you do the same thing, because there is just a ton going on, but you need to stay on top of it. You need to be proactive. And if you haven't been, and that hasn't been the way that you show up, then this is the time to start taking that to heart and really start moving things in the direction that you need them to go. And then lastly, preparing for the long haul. This can be a lengthy process, and depending upon the state that you're in, it can drag on for sometimes years. Hopefully that's not the case for you, but be prepared for delays. Just be patient, work with your attorney to manage the expectations, and stay focused on the long-term goals, which you've created in creating that vision and direction for what you want your life to look like post-divorce. So that's why this takes us back to full circle, which is number 1, clarifying your objectives, because this can be a long haul. You need to stay cognizant of that while you're going through this. It might feel like some of the times we talked about this morning that you're losing some of these little battles that are going on, which is okay, because you're in this for the long term, and some things might not go your way some of the time, and nobody's going to get 100% of what they want in this process. It's there's no win-wins. It's everybody loses a little bit, but what you can do is you can stay positive through this, stay focused on it. And make sure to know that it is a marathon, and that it is not a sprint. So in conclusion, quote unquote, training your attorney means guiding them to understand and prioritize your needs effectively. And you can do this by clarifying your objectives, like I said, documenting meticulously, addressing alienation, negotiating parenting time, pursuing equitable asset distribution, managing high conflict interactions, and making sure to address mental health issues. This is going to help empower your attorney to advocate powerfully on your behalf. And remember, a well-informed and proactive client-attorney partnership is key to navigating divorce successfully and securing the best possible outcome for you and your children. I hope that this was really beneficial for you. If you want more information about this and other stuff, check out the Divorce Advocate website. If you found this information valuable, do us a favor and please leave a star rating on whatever podcast platform you're listening, or even better, give us a little review of the podcast. This helps other dads that are looking. It helps raise the rank of the podcast as well, so that other dads can find it and get the support that they need. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great week, and God bless.